me ask you this, because there's been a lot of talk about Trump seeking retribution if he gets into office, for his legal troubles, for his personal troubles, for his hair, whatever. He always has somebody to blame, you know? So you said recently that you thought that you, as an outspoken critic, could be a target yourself. Some people think that sounds overdramatic, but I'm right there with you. I think that he is so vindictive that he will go after however he has to, through the IRS maybe, or even through sponsors to get us off the air maybe, or you. How seriously should we be taking that?
Boy, I tell you, the liberal media and liberal politicians are running scared of the possibility of Donald Trump being reelected. They're using all the scare tactics. They're using all the fear-mongering to scare people into voting against Donald Trump to save democracy. Not knowing, most of the people don't even know that we are a constitutional republic, that we're not a democracy per se in a traditional sense. But these liberal politicians and liberal media hosts are scared of Donald Trump using the government like they use the government on conservatives and on Christians. You know how they weaponize the government against people that protest outside of abortion clinics? How they weaponize the government against parents who want to stand up and understand what their children are being taught in these public indoctrination centers, the public schools? Nah, they are scared that Donald Trump would turn the tables on them.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because there's been a lot of talk about Trump seeking retribution if he gets into office, for his legal troubles, for his personal troubles, for his hair, whatever. He always has somebody to blame, you know? So you said recently that you thought that you, as an outspoken critic, could be a target yourself. Some people think that sounds overdramatic, but I'm right there with you. I think that he is so vindictive that he will go after however he has to, through the IRS.
First of all, these people are so ignorant of our form of government. We elect a president, not a king. These people want to have an authoritarian rule because they want to be the ones to dictate how everybody else lives. And so they are frightened because they have not had a chance to execute their authoritarian rule. So therefore, all of their plans and all the schemes that they've been trying to set up in the last 2 to 3 years, and probably in the last 40, 50, 60 years to keep the American people down in a permanent state of servanthood, could be destroyed, could be removed, could be disrupted if Donald Trump is reelected. That's what they really are scared of.
IRS maybe, or even through sponsors to get us off the air.
Yeah, like the Obama administration used the IRS to target conservatives and the Tea Party movement, just like that, right, Joe Behar? You won't talk about that, will you?
Maybe, or you. How seriously should we be taking that?
Well, so I was asked, am I worried about me? And my answer was, I'm worried about all of us. I'm no more worried about.
You're not worried about Americans. You're worried about not having the influence, not having the ability to manipulate and deceive people if Donald Trump is elected. That's what you're concerned about. Because you guys on MSNBC, this is Rachel Maddow, for those who don't know who this is. She's a liberal host on MSNBC, the network that refuses to air Donald Trump when he spoke after winning the different primaries. Yeah, that Rachel Maddow and that network, MSNBC.
About me than I am worried about everybody in the country. I think it's bad to have somebody saying, give me as much power as you can in this country so I can use it to go after other Americans. So I can use it to go after.
Okay, that's a bunch of lie. You guys really think Donald Trump is going to get up there and use the bully pulpit of the presidency to go after you guys? No, he's going to get up there and round up all these illegal aliens that have come into this country illegally and send them back.
So much. You and I share the belief that Donald Trump's a threat to democracy, our institutions. I don't know that the stakes have been this high in modern history in a presidential election.
As high as they were in 1960 with JFK and Richard Nixon, as high as they were in 1980 when we had hostages in Iran, as high as they were in 1944, 1948, 1952, 1956, 1964, when we're in the middle of wars. You guys are so hyperbolic. You guys exaggerate everything because what you want to do is to scare people into seeing the threat of Donald Trump. He's a threat to democracy. Like I've said in the previous video, this is a supposed conservative, supposed Christian. She's just a liberal Democrat in disguise.
Yet, I'm skeptical of polls. We all are. Trump continues to outperform Biden in key battleground states. Is there a world in which Democrats should have a backup plan for Joe Biden?
A backup plan?
If he needed to be replaced on the ticket. If we're 3 months out and Trump's still beating him in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, North Carolina.
I mean, I think the backup plan is run a better campaign, right? There's no reason that Joe Biden's record as a president is a very, very strong record. I mean,
straight up lie. It's a strong record for who? For the fat cats on Wall Street? Yeah, of course it's a strong record for them. But for the people that have to go to the grocery store and pay those exorbitant prices because of inflation, have to fill up their tanks, they have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. For those people, Joe Biden's record is not as stellar as you put it. For black people, is Joe Biden's record as stellar as you put it? No, it's stellar for you because you are an East Coast elite. It's doing great for you.
How concerned are you, Congresswoman, about your safety if Donald Trump is reelected?
Well, I'm very concerned not only about my safety and not only about the safety of members of Congress. I'm concerned about the safety of so many people in this country, particularly people of color.
There we go. Continuing the recurring theme of trying to scare black people into voting for Joe Biden. This is pathetic. This is demeaning. They have nothing else to run on but fear. And they constantly use this fear every 2 to 4 years to convince black people to vote for the Democrats. So now they want to scare black people into saying that if Donald Trump gets reelected, he's going to come to the inner city, come to the hood, knock on your door, round you up, and throw you in prison. Think about that. Think about how ridiculous that sounds. And they expect you to believe that.
Donald, Trump has said that if he does not win, it's going to be fraud. And because it's going to be fraud, there's going to be blood in the streets. He threatens about a civil war, and he threatens there's going to be violence. So I say all of this.
You guys want a civil war, so you can come in and institute martial law, and you can live out your dream of controlling the American citizenry. That's what you want.
This talk is motivational with many of those who are racist, who are sitting at home listening to him, and they're taking him up on his threats even before the elections take place. And so it's about thousands, maybe millions of people, being threatened and being at risk because of Donald Trump and his desire to wreak revenge on anything and everybody.
Okay, you hear that? If you white and MAGA, you sitting at home in your basement, just waiting, just plotting to execute Donald Trump's sinister plan of attacking all black and brown people. Because, Donald Trump is the racist one, right? He's the one that has instituted policies to abort black babies. He's the one that doesn't say anything about black on black crime. He's the one that puts children in these failing schools. He's the one that kicks the black man out of the house. He's the one that pushes policies that help to elevate the black woman over the black man. That's Donald Trump. Oh, my bad. That's the Democrats.
Congressman, real quickly in the less than 2 minutes we have left, 60 years ago this week, 3 activists, Mikey Schwerner, James Chaney, Andrew Goodman, they were murdered for trying to register black Mississippi residents to vote during Freedom Summer. What do you see as their legacy today, especially as the nation faces more threats of political violence like the ones you've faced?
Well, first of all, I want to thank all of those people who joined in the civil rights movement, who are not Black, who are not people of color, who joined with us to try and get justice and equality in this country. But we see they were killed, they were murdered. And I do believe that, having listened to Donald Trump so many times and having the attack, the insurrection that took place on the House of Representatives, in Congress, on the Capitol grounds, that we could be in for more killings like that. And I think Donald Trump has to take responsibility for what he's saying about blood in the streets and violence if he's not elected to be the president of the United States of America.
I don't get angry at all, really, because the Bible says, be slow to speak, slow to wrath, quick to hear. That vengeance is mine, I will repay, said the Lord. And how in James 1:20 says that the wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God. So I don't get angry often. But I do get angry when I see how the media and liberal politicians like Maxine Waters uses the 60-year anniversary of people that died right near where I grew up. James Chaney. He was from my hometown, or near my hometown, the black guy that was killed 60 years ago on the Freedom Rides. When I see them use and manipulate that to say that if Donald Trump doesn't get reelected, those exact same things are going to happen, that makes me angry. Because you are intentionally denigrating the memory of those brave men and women in the 60s in order to advance your political purpose of retaining power. That is appalling. That is disgusting, Maxine Waters, and you know it. That is disgusting. To equate Donald Trump to the racist KKK and the Jim Crow South is appalling and disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourself, but you're not, because you know exactly what you're doing. You've been dispatched along with other black folks to scare black men in particular to voting for the Democrats because you have nothing else to run on. That is a shame. All you want to do, see, you black people that are in the Congressional Black Caucus and all these black organizations, political organizations, you do nothing for black people. Jim Clyburn, you guys do nothing for black people. Alma Adams here in Charlotte, you guys do nothing for black people. Why is the hood in the same state or worse now than it was 60 some years ago? And you've been representing the district for more than 2 decades. You tell me that. You answer that for me. Why is it that if I go to any inner city in any major metropolitan area that's run by Democrats, it is an area that you want to hurry up and get away from? It is an area that people are living like the third world citizens. Tell me that. Because you do not care about those citizens. You're only there to stay in power. You're only in government to benefit yourself and not the people you're supposed to be representing. And so when you use the memory of those brave souls that died fighting for civil rights, that is appalling. That is disgusting. All you want to do is keep black people in a permanent state of victimhood. We're not victims. We are empowered for greatness.